Pedro, welcome to the Halving Report podcast. Thanks for doing this morning.
Thanks, Brad. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You had posted something on your YouTube channel. It's about the Bitcoin Halving Party happening in El Salvador. Is that something of great interest to you? Are you going to be at the party? What's the significance around that?
I am with a group of guys called the MemeFactory, and we've been planning a halving party in El Salvador for, I don't know, maybe it's been over a year now. We've been talking about it on our channel. Big Sean Harris is actually the person who's been on point for this and really the driving force behind making everything happen. My role in this is sort of, I do like infrastructure stuff for the MemeFactory. So I run the websites. I set up all of the different things that are needed to be able to do the IT type of things from an internet standpoint to be able to get it to happen. My favorite part of it is probably running the BTC Pay server, in my basement and having, people make Bitcoin payments to us for the halving party ticket using Bitcoin. I think it's just another layer of what Bitcoin is about and how to not have to ask permission from anybody to do something that you want to do. And we all know when it comes to the money part of it, there's more and more aggressively, there's a lot of people who want their hands inside of what you're doing with your money, right? And so to be able to operate outside of all of that, it's been really fun for me.
Yeah, for sure. And, obviously, one of the main things about Bitcoin is being able to have that ability to, work outside traditional financial systems, and, you can collect payments from anywhere across the world. And there's no really restrictions when you're doing that in a decentralized manner, which is super cool. So you're talking about the selling tickets for the halving party anticipated in, what is it, like 19, 20 weeks we're looking at now? Like how much are tickets and what can people expect at the party?
Well, so in terms of what people can expect from the party, really Sean is handling the vast majority of that. He obviously invites us to the meetings and stuff, and some of the guys in the MemeFactory are playing more of a role in that aspect. I kind of expect it to be sort of more laid back than your typical conference. We don't really want to do the thing where there's speakers up on stage every hour of the day and people are sort of expected to be excited for the speakers so much as we expect it to be more of like what happens sort of on the outskirts of a conference where people are sort of hanging out in different areas with each other and sort of just meeting like-minded individuals, which is kind of what the hard part about folks with our mentality is, right? Is that it's not exactly a mainstream thing. And so being able to meet like-minded individuals is fun and exciting for people. It's going to be in a resort. So people have to pay us for the ticket. And then they also have to book stay at this resort. We're probably going to have the majority of the resort booked. So it'll be just mostly Bitcoiners that are hanging out there. It's all inclusive in terms of, people being able to not have to worry about food and drinks. All of that is going to be included. It's pricey for sure. I mean, the resort is, I think if you're a couple and you're staying there for like 3 or 4 days, it's going to be something in the neighborhood of like $600 or $700, I think. We are charging, at this point, we've been steadily raising the prices of the tickets. At this point, we're at about $399 in terms of fiat, and I think it's like $350 if somebody pays in Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Then you're talking about your flight on top of that. So depending on which part of the world you're coming from, but I'd imagine it'd be quite a few different people from all over the world attending, as El Salvador's attracting more and more attention from Bitcoiners around the world. Would you say?
Yeah, that's kind of been what's been most surprising to me is the amount of people coming from different areas of the world. And I just, from my standpoint, Sean's been talking about this for a long time and planning it and hyping it up. And I didn't expect the demand to be at what it is, right? And that's kind of one of the things that I said to him initially is how many people were excited about coming and from all different parts of the world. I had to jump on calls to help people figure out how to buy from like Australia because I guess their IP addresses were being banned from the resort's website. So we had to figure out workarounds on how to get them to be able to get to that website and book the resort. Things like that has just been really interesting to me. And I just did not anticipate the amount of demand for this type of thing. So that's been pretty exciting.
Now, you mentioned Sean Harris a couple times now. Is he on Twitter? Where can we follow Sean?
Yeah, Sean is at Big Sean Harris on Twitter.
Big Sean Harris with the basketball beside his name. There it is.
That's him.
Cool.
He's a former. Actually, I don't know if he's made that announcement. He's playing basketball in Europe for a long time.
Wow, very cool. I was just gonna say, I saw him on your channel a couple times, and obviously he's the main organizer of this event going down. So I just want to make sure I click follow and subscribe, so I can get all these updates as we go. But sorry, what were you saying?
He's publicly shared that he's in the U.S. right now and traveling a lot. So
Okay, cool. And you guys appear to be very Bitcoin only. It says right on his page, Bitcoin, not crypto. So are you in the maximalism camp? Is everything else a scam? Do you entertain Ethereum?
yeah, no, I don't entertain Ethereum. I did have some bags, maybe 2017-ish, 2018-ish.
Okay.
I've been aware of Bitcoin for a long time, probably before it was even $1. I remember somebody telling me about how they were mining it. I always thought it was something that people were speculating on. I never dug into the fundamentals or whatever. When I did sort of start playing around with some of this stuff in 2017, that is when I started digging into the fundamentals behind these different things and sort of came to the conclusion that a lot of stuff was very scammy and looking to just do the old rug pull thing. And so I pretty much went Bitcoin only at that point.
Now I'm seeing on the Halving Party 2024 on their webpage here, it's Halving Party MF on Twitter /X, April 3rd to 5th, 2024. Is there any chance that the halving doesn't occur between those days?
That's an interesting comment. We've had a lot of folks call that out, that it's highly unlikely that the halving actually happens when we're having our halving party. We fully acknowledge that. I mean, there's not really a way for us to have planned out in advance, being able to put the resort, being able to plan out all these events in a way that wouldn't cost the end user a lot of money at the end of the day, right? Like, we could have tried to time this thing and say, and we would have ended up paying a lot of money to a resort, or like users would have ended up paying a lot of money wherever we would have figured out this was going to happen, or they wouldn't have been able to plan out their stay in the first place, right? So we kind of just wanted to get everybody together as best as possible, especially folks that, we've been hanging out with on Twitter for a long time. That was kind of the reason why we wanted to do this, is because we just wanted to meet a lot of these people. We wanted to do it in a fun place, like, El Salvador is obviously a lot going on over there, and we thought it would be interesting to do that. So there was no way for us to just plan an exact date.
Yeah, well, that'd be cool if it does happen when you're there now. Yeah, you guys, I'm on the BitcoinHalvingParty.com website, and you guys got quite the lineup of Bitcoiners coming, so that should be very exciting for anybody that wanted to go and meet people in this space. You got a wealth of knowledge of people lined up coming, so that is super cool. I have a little bit of an announcement. I haven't said that I'm going to the Bitcoin Halving Party, but I am going to El Salvador next week and going to explore the country as much as I can for about a week. So do you guys have any boots on the ground at this time? Are there people there kind of checking things out, or do you know people that are there full time?
Yeah, we've had folks that have been there that have given us sort of feedback on the resort. Sean has been to the resort, I want to say at least once. He might have been there a couple times at this point. Yeah, there's been other folks who have visited and sort of shared in regards to what's going on over there. I think the main feedback that the resort gets is around wait times to check in. It looks like there's a lot of negative feedback on the website about that. And I know he's partnering with I've been on some of the Zoom calls partnering with the folks that run the resort to try to mitigate the issues with the wait time. And that's been the main concern that people have had.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, I should definitely just check that out. The beautiful Royal Decameron Salinitas. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing.
Yeah, there you go. That's right. Yeah, Royal Decameron Salinitas.
Sweet. I might go there and just check out the resort just to see, in case I'm not there for the halving party. I can kind of see what you guys are going to experience.
Any feedback that you have would be very welcome. That'd be cool. Do you already have a itinerary of where you're going out there?
Not really. I was going to spend a couple days in San Salvador before making it down to the Beachway and doing that strip there. Do you have any recommendations?
No, I don't. I've never been to El Salvador, so this will be my first time.
That'll be your first time in April.
Yeah, that'll be my first time. I'm going to take the wife and, so fingers crossed here. If everything goes well with the birth of our next child, then we'll be there.
Yeah, you got a few kids now.
Yeah, I have 5. But they're
5.
not all. We're not taking all of them though.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
But glad to be speaking to somebody so intertwined with this halving event. Obviously, here on the halving report, we try to emphasize that cycle to newcomers coming to the space, trying to help them zoom out and see the big picture with Bitcoin. And I think you guys are doing that too, by focusing on El Salvador and focusing on the halving and bringing light to what that means for Bitcoiners and miners, and the distribution of coins and the inflation rate and everything that goes along with the halving. Because it's often, I think, overlooked, during those bear market years. People don't think about it until, we're getting closer. We got the price starting to come up. What do you think about this little price bump that we've had in the past week or two?
Yeah, we were just talking about this with some of the guys a couple of days ago when we hit 44. I ran some quick numbers. I'm not a charts guy. I sort of prefer when it comes to my interactions with the guys and what I focus on. It's more of the technical stuff with Bitcoin, and especially pushing folks to self-custody, pushing folks to run their own node. But I did some quick math, and I caught that the previous all-time high from 2017 was around 20,000. I'm just doing some rough numbers here.
Yeah.
And then we had that pump. I don't know if you remember I believe it was 2019, where we went to 12K in October or so.
Okay. Yeah.
And when you do sort of the percentages of that, that's 65% of all time high. And then we promptly dumped after that, and then retraced all the way down to 3,600 at one point during the COVID scare. And then so when you do those numbers with this one against this previous all time high, it's 64%. So we're when you look at the chart and you try to track it where you are in the versus the previous cycle, you could sort of see you are here at $12,500 versus the previous all-time high.
So do you think we're going to see a significant pullback then before reaching new all-time highs?
Man, I have no idea. That's the reason why I don't trade, because I'm very bad at it, right? And so is 95% of anybody that's out there trying to trade against these whales that have so much control. It's probably either one of the two things going to happen, right? We're gonna break against that trend and go up, or something. A lot of people are predicting some sort of credit event like we've had in the past, that if it were to happen, we'd probably see a pretty big pullback. But you never know. I mean, it could break the trend and go in the other direction, and you could be sitting on dollars and being very regretful of that. So
yeah,
I don't try to play those games.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just invited on to a local podcast guy. His name is Pizza Review Joe. He's sort of like a Dave Portnoy inspired, but for local pizzas around here. But now he started a podcast. He's in real estate, but now interested in Bitcoin. So I went on there, and he has another Bitcoin crypto friend that's telling him we're trying to accumulate more Bitcoin by trying to time the top, and not time the top, but selling higher than which you bought at, and then buying lower to get more Bitcoin. And I'm not sure if I expressed it enough or good enough to him at the time, but I just said you're probably going, a lot of people are going to end up with less Bitcoin over time. But you might get a couple trades, but it only takes one bad trade to get caught with your pants down and end up with less Bitcoin. Does that make sense?
No, that's 100% what happens. And 95% of the time you hear somebody saying that they're going to do that, the next time you talk to them, they got wrecked. I mean, that's just the reality.
So yeah, that's why we emphasize that dollar cost average strategy and help people into self custody, long term holding.